welcome back to another episode of the A Knit Soul podcast. My name is Brooke, and I'm an interior designer in the Northern Virginia area, and I'm also the owner and dyer behind Fully Spun. And this is Rolo, my furry co-host, who joins me for every episode once I get started talking to you guys. If you are a new viewer, welcome, and I hope you enjoy. And if you are a returning viewer, thanks for coming back to check out what I've been up to. So as you guys can see, I am in a little bit of a different setup today. I have done some rearranging of furniture and wanted to give a try filming out here in my living room instead of filming in my bedroom. And I have some other plans to add even more furniture. I'm hoping the lighting is okay. It's starting to get dark pretty early, so it's been tough to get a good time going. So I missed last week, and that is because I came home to find out that they had turned the AC off a few days before I expected, and it just happened to also be an 80-degree day. So that day I was really hot and hungry and hangry, really, and so I recorded an episode, but I felt like it was a little bit too negative to share, and I was like, let me just do this another time. And then I got busy and wasn't able to record again last week. So I've got a lot to share with you guys, starting with two finished objects. So first up, finished object, the long-awaited Lemongrass Sweater is finished, and this is the Lemongrass by Locatelli, and I knit it with Cascade Ecological Wool in just a natural colorway, and so it's all done. And I'm not finished sewing everything up, sewing all the ends, but it actually, unfortunately, it doesn't fit. So I'm not sure if I'm going to film an FO review for this one, but I will try to get a little shot of me wearing it. And basically, the way that it doesn't fit is that since it's not wide enough around and where it hits my body, it basically hits at the largest point of my hips almost. And because it's not oversized, it's just incredibly unflattering. So it looks okay from the front, but from the sides it's just not cute. So you all know I am trying to lose weight, and so hopefully maybe I'll eventually lose enough weight so it'll look nice. But in the meantime, it'll just stay folded up in my growing sweater pile. Alright, and the second finished object was started and completed this weekend. This is the Rock Cap, which is just a simple moss stitch hat knit from Aran Weight yarn, and the pattern is free on Ravelry. And the yarn that I use is actually Fully Spun yarn in the Orion colorway and the worsted weight. So this is just a slouchy hat, and I'm really happy with it. I'm happy with how it fits. And yeah, so it's all done, and it was really quick to knit and really fun. This is Orion on the BFL base, which, as you guys know, is really nice. To knit with. All right, up next, works in progress. Hi, Rolo. Okay, in my bag from Aubrey and Sewing Company, with a little enamel pin on it. It says, "Oh hell no, I need coffee first," which is true, especially today. I've got my coffee right next to me. This is my Granito, which is also a pattern by Locatelli. And so last time you all saw this, I was finishing up the sleeve, and I picked the body back up and was at this marker, and so I have been just knitting, and I separated the pockets and have completed probably about 3 inches after that. And so I think I have 4 more inches to go, and then I'll be ready to start the ribbing and then go back and do the pockets. And then after I do that, all I have to do is just pick up around the edge of the top and do that finishing. Part of me wanted to do an I-cord bind off just because I really like how it looks, and then also it would match the detail on the sweater. So I think that's what I'm going to do when I get to that point, but we will see and we'll make that decision at that time. So I'm really enjoying knitting with this. This is also knit out of Fully Spun in the Hint of Mint colorway. And I am not quite sure how I would like to do the pockets. So a lot of people do a contrast color in the pockets, and my plan was to, whether I was in a light or dark area, to knit basically use the opposite value section of the yarn to do the pocket. But as you guys can see, leading up to where I separate for the pockets is dark, and then the ribbing for the pockets is dark, but the outside of the sweater after that goes to the light color. So I'm not sure what I'm gonna decide to do for that, because now I'm not really gonna be able to create a contrast at that point. So we'll see. Maybe I'll go into the bright green part like the arms are. So basically most of the sweater, so here the dark color is the background, here the white is the background, again back to the dark color, and then back again to the white. But the sleeves were knit out of a different part that was starting to go into the green background. So I might find a part of the yarn. Where's my skein? I might do the pockets out of that part of the yarn so you can see. Hopefully the color looks okay, because I've got like yellow light over here and blue light over here. Anyway, the outside of this skein is that bright green color again, and I have another one that matches this one. So we'll see. I'll figure that out when I come to it, but I am excited to almost be done with this sweater and moving on to even more sweaters. I've got a lot of sweaters on the needles and in the immediate queue. And speaking of sweaters, I completely forgot to announce at the beginning of the podcast, but I am currently hosting a holiday sweater knit along with Melissa of the Honeybee Knits podcast and Honeybee Knits Co. on Etsy. She's a yarn dyer. And the rules basically for the knit along are that you would need to knit a sweater for yourself to wear for the holidays, and the sweater needed to have been casted on after October 1st, and the knit along ends on December 31st. If you are working on the sweater or would like to join us in the knit along, definitely head over to her Ravelry group, which I'll link below, and chatter in the chatter thread, let us know what you'll be up to. And I have a little piece later about what I'll be knitting for that. I have not cast that on yet because I've been trying to finish other stuff up. All right, up next, like I said, I'm working on a lot of sweaters. I think that's 99% of what you guys are going to see today. Okay, so this is the Anniversaire cardigan by Veera Valimaki. And last time you saw this, I had just started the back. I was probably a third of the way through the section that's above where you join underneath the arms. And since then, I picked that back up late last week and knit the rest of the back, upper back portion. And I did the right front upper portion, and I'm working on the left front upper portion. This is a really fun experience to knit. It is a bit complicated. I mentioned before that I had to put all the charts together for the back just for myself, my peace of mind. And then also the front requires extensive notes because it has you do at the same time, and if you're not done with this, do this here and pick this back up after, and don't forget how many stitches you need to increase. So it's definitely not a brainless sweater. And so although that's the case, and although it is maybe could be written in a little bit of a different way, I really am enjoying knitting with it. The yarn is from Jake of Dog Star Knits, and he's on Etsy, and I actually had him dye up custom colorway, both custom colorways for me, and he actually listed the light blue color in his shop as puppy dog eyes, but that scheme has sold since I saw that he listed it. And then he also did this dark blue color for the back, which I'm doing as an intarsia panel on the three bigger cables on the back. So I'm really excited about this. I purchased this yarn as a birthday present for myself. So this is my like 25th Anniversaire sweater to celebrate my birthday, which was in June. So yeah, hopefully I'll finish it before my next birthday. But yeah, right now I'm focused on trying to push the Granito out, and this one will be up next. I'm not sure at what point I will go ahead and cast on the garlic. I might just set a November 1 date to go ahead and cast that on. And then I'll just stretch it out and try to finish it in that 8-week period, which I don't think that should be a problem. Alright, up next is the final sweater of the day. And this sweater actually is not for myself. My sister and I are knitting the Oster Sweater for my grandfather out of Knit Picks Mighty Stitch, and in the Celestial colorway. And so last time you saw this, I had just begun the sleeve decreases, and I have just been continuing to work through those. I think I'm close to being complete, and I should already have had this done, but I was enjoying knitting other things more. So once I do that, I need to swatch for the front, because I'm worried about what my gauge is going to be on the cable portion. And so I'll swatch for the front, and then I'll go ahead and pick that up and knit that. And my goal is to finish that by the end of November. So hopefully next time you guys see this, the sleeve will be done, and I will have cast it on for the actual front portion of the sweater. Alright, next work in progress. Another item that is not for me, and this one doesn't really have a deadline, but I would like to get it done sooner rather than later. This is the Everyday Shawl by Jenny F, and it is just a simple asymmetrical triangle that is constructed similar to the Find Your Fade, where you increase, and then your stitch count stays the same to close out the triangle. So I have just started it, and this is also knit from Fully Spun Yarn. This is in the hashtag basic colorway, which is just the 3 primary colors, and you can't tell too well because I did a poor job of winding the yarn. But this is yarn that my mother purchased from me and then over a year later never knit with. So I grabbed the skeins from her and am working on creating them into objects that she can enjoy. And the last work in progress is a pair of socks, which I have just recently started because I finished a different pair of socks. And I'm knitting these 2 at a time from the toe up. The stitch pattern I'm using is the Hermione's Everyday Sock pattern, and I'm using the same stitch count that I did on my previous pair of socks, although I think those were, I don't know specifically the breed of wool on this, but the other ones were merino, and so the gauge was smaller on those than on these. So I'm not 100% sure that the stitch count and needle size is going to work out on these, but I wanted to keep knitting until I got to a portion where it was big enough that I could fit it to my foot to be sure that that it was small enough. I like negative E's in my socks, and you know, as you wear socks, they always stretch out a little bit, so that makes that even more important. And these are being knit 2 at a time from a double-stranded sock blank that I dyed just as an experiment. This is basically the Voices in My Head colorway translated into a sock blank, and I would like to finish these socks in the next 2 weeks maybe, as part of the Too Much Candy knit along, which is being hosted by Ashley and Tara of the Misadventures in Knitting podcast. And both of those ladies work at Woolworks in Baltimore, and they have an audio-only podcast that's on Podbean and iTunes. So I have been enjoying their podcast. They just recently uploaded another episode. And so if you are knitting something Halloween related this month that you started, I think the timeline was September 15th to October 31st. Definitely go check out their Ravelry group and enter enter your finished object into the FO thread. So yeah, so I honestly, a lot of people say that they get bored with vanilla socks, but I haven't gotten bored yet. And part of me wishes that these were just vanilla because I could knit them faster. But yeah, so we'll see how quickly these get knit. Alright, that's all for finished objects. Up next, acquisitions. And this is where I wanted to talk about the sweater that I'll be knitting for the holiday Sweater KAL that I am co-hosting with Melissa. And so up first is this amazing bag. And this bag was created by Erin, who's Gimme Yarn 418. She has the Thank God It's Finished podcast-ish YouTube channel series. And she also has an Etsy shop, which is I think it's Southpaw Designs. I need to, let me see if she has a tag. I need to check that, and I'll put the title in the video. It used to be Poor Girl Project Bags, but she changed it. And so this bag I bartered with her for, so I sent her a yarn and some minis, and she sent me this bag and some minis. And it's just got these cool little skeletons and roses, and the skeletons are all doing different things, and I really, really like this bag. This bag is, I think, kind of an ingenious construction. So basically it's a tote bag, and the top of it has this other section of fabric, which also has a drawstring, and the ribbon actually is a ruler, which is pretty cool as well. And so yeah, so I really love this bag, and she has these really well priced for the amount of work that goes into them. So, and also as well, she sent me some minis, and I really love the minis that she sent me, and I think I would like to put them all into a magic ball and knit them all in order in my blanket. So yeah, so thank you, Erin. I love this bag and the yarn in it, because you see it's full of yarn. I didn't buy all this yarn since last time I podcasted. But this yarn is actually going to become the garlic sweater. Initially, I know I said that I was going to use the Knit Picks yarn, but I had forgotten that when I moved it to the front of my queue, I intended to use this Malabrigo Rios that I had initially purchased for the Anniversaire. So there's like a whole lot going on. But long story short, I'm going to knit the garlic cardigan with this Malabrigo Rios and the colorway Pearl, P-E-A-R-L. And I purchased 2 skeins of Malabrigo Rios in Paris Night. I purchased 2 skeins of Malabrigo Rios in Paris Night, which is a dark, beautiful, gorgeous, amazing, lovely navy blue color. And I got these skeins when I was doing my trunk show at Second Story Knits in Bethesda. And if you guys are local to the DMV and have access to either Woolworths in Baltimore or Second Story Knits in Bethesda, definitely check both of them out. The ladies at both shops are really amazing, and I had the best time just sitting and enjoying them during my trunk show and meeting all of the lovely customers as well. So yeah, so I got these. I'm gonna get more of this yarn. Love this color. You know, the Rios is so stretchy. I mean, so stretchy, so squishy and beautiful. And I love navy blue, which I don't know if that has become apparent to you guys yet, but I'm sure it will, especially as I'm like sewing more, and the first version of everything I make is either navy blue or gray, and if not the first, the second version will be navy blue or gray. So yeah, so I'm really excited about that, to get that cast on. I did swatch. I swatched in a size 5 and it was too small, so I'm gonna swatch in a size 6 and see how that works out. Also in acquisitions, I have been pattern shopping, and so the first pattern that I purchased is the Pinolith Cat and Cowl by Becky Sorensen of the Soprano Knits podcast, which is another one that you should check out. And I will insert a picture into the video. I'm planning to use the leftover, so from the Lemongrass Sweater, I had 230 grams of yarn left over. So when I had 400 something left over after the 24 hours, instead of being like 30% done, I was really like 50% done. So that makes me feel better about being able to try to knit something in 24 hours. But regardless, I have a substantial amount of yarn left, definitely enough for both the hat and cowl, and I think that the secondary color I'll use will just be from stash. So I'm excited to get those done and have something fun to wear through the winter and something kind of more neutral than I usually would select. I might get another skein of Cascade Eco Wool just to match up with it. I might get, if I see one on sale. I recently did see it on sale, but I decided not to get it. But I think I might do that if I see one on sale coming up soon. So the next pattern that I purchased is the Money Honey by, and I forget the designer's name, but I will put it in the title. And she creates the Poison Girls designs, and Casey Mara test knits a lot of her items for her, but she like kind of has like a 50s vibe, which I'm not particularly into, but I do like turbans and like hats, and I was thinking that I could make some out of a couple of the beautiful skeins of yarn that I have, that I don't want to necessarily purchase 2 or 3 skeins to go with them. So I purchased that pattern, and I think it's really cool and can't wait to cast that on when I have time and I'm not knitting sweaters or blankets and all the other things I'm knitting, because you guys didn't even see all the works in progress. I probably have like 11 works in progress, which I'll only bring back, of course, as I actually do something with them, because otherwise that's boring. So anyway, the point, I got that pattern too. I also purchased the Rue dress pattern by Colette, and I will insert a picture of that as well. That's the next garment that I'm going to try to sew. And so I have already assembled the PDF pattern and traced it, and I'm working on tracing the not the seam lines, but the sewing lines onto the trace paper, and then I'll keep going with all the rest of the steps of making a garment. I am going to be making a muslin for it. Honestly, I'm not 100% sure how flattering the dress will be, and I know I'm going to have to adjust the heights because I don't like how I don't like the length that it falls at on the person in the picture. So I also purchased some gray suiting, I think it was called suiting fabric. I purchased some gray suiting fabric for that, and I purchased a leopard print lining fabric to make it a little bit more fun. And then I also purchased some gray knit fabric for another Turner dress. So I am excited to get both of those things going and hopefully have them completed soon so that I can enjoy them through the fall and winter, and get ready to purchase more fabric and make something else. So I really am trying not to have a stash of fabric. I really don't. I'd honestly would prefer not to have a stash of yarn as well. I do, just because that's what happens, but I really have tried to be as judicious as possible with what I purchase, like purchase only for project, and also wait to purchase knowing that I have other things that I previously purchased that I need to knit with. So there's some random yarn from years ago that doesn't really have a home, but most of the yarn I have, especially the sweater quantities, actually has a specific project that it's supposed to go to. So y'all wish me luck with that, with continuing to finish objects and continuing to get things out of my stash, so that I can purchase all the yarn that I want to buy to make all the other things that I want to buy that aren't already on the list. So yeah, so up next, Can't Let It Go, and this is going to be the same Can't Let It Go from last week, although when I recorded last week, that was before I had actually gone ahead and purchased some more patterns and fabric to sew with. So I ran across Colette Patterns, which is, I don't remember their URL, but just look up Colette, Colettete. And they were my can't let it go for last week and this week, for a few reasons. So the first reason, I really love a good portion of their sewing patterns. A lot of them are relatively simple and classic and can easily be done in a fun fabric for a statement piece or in a neutral fabric for a good staple piece. And so that's the kind of things that I would like to sew. Like, I want to sew multiple versions of the patterns that I buy and have fun things and also staple things for different occasions. I'm not 100% sure what my like personal style is, but I know that I do really love color and pattern and fun fabrics, and you know, love the fact that I'm a designer, so I can wear those things, especially to work, which is where I spend most of my time, and otherwise I'm just saying whatever is comfortable. But so I go between that, like something like the dress I'm wearing today, and then also like a really like chic, like bold but neutral, like kind of like just really not necessarily on trend, but just like really pretty, like more elegant and more chic type of style as well. So I know those two things are very different, but I hope to be able to sort of approach both sides of my wardrobe. So like have a dress that's like a classic, that has a classic silhouette, but also do it in a really fun fabric. And especially like for the summer and stuff, I love to wear like jumpers and fun dresses, and so that'll be a really time when I can really play with color as well. So anyway, the point is after that ramble that's not related to why I can't let it go, I love this pattern selection that they have on Colette, and the best part is that they are size inclusive. So most of their patterns go all the way up to 3X, some go up to 5X. And the reason that is important, from 0 to 3X or 0 to 5X, and the reason that is important is that a lot of companies and a lot of the like Deer and Doe and Tilly and the Button and whoever, they only go up to a size that happens to be just lower than the size that I wear. So that's frustrating because it's like I'd love to make these beautiful things, but I don't know how to make a pattern bigger. Sorry, my window's open. I'm like hearing somebody banging on a door. So anyway, I don't like to make, I don't know how to make patterns bigger. So to have a company that's creating things that are really beautiful, that are also size inclusive, was huge for me. And so they're definitely a favorite of mine already. And also, you know, not only do they include my size, but they have size of people who are larger than me as well. I'm nowhere near the spectrum of the largest person possible or the largest person who sews, and so those people, you know, deserve to be included as well when a pattern is being created. So a company that includes that as part of the product that they offer is a company that I'd like to support. Sorry guys, I'm just like a little paranoid. I've been heavy on the coffee today because I'm pretty tired. Alright you guys, that's all for today. If you liked this video, definitely hit the like button down below. And if you'd like to see more craft and lifestyle videos from me, definitely hit that subscribe button. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.